Can even do a transcription and summary. Okay. Hello,
Great.
Kumiko.
Thank you so much. I wanted to let you guys know I'm here in Tecopai territory in the northern Ecuadorian rainforest, right at the entrance of Yasuni, which is the most biodiverse place on earth. And it's raining and there's thunder and lightning. So we have satellite internet, but when the thunder comes, the internet cuts out. So if I do disappear, it's just because the thunderstorm took out the internet connection. So hopefully, fingers crossed, I'll be able to join you guys for the whole call. Such an honor and pleasure to meet you, John and Michael and Elana. Hello, Marcelo, Adriana. Such a blessing. Thank you for inviting me. I don't want to take too much time, so I'll just give a really quick introduction. My name is Kumiko. I'm Japanese American, and I'm also part of the Sekopai tribe, where I live with my partner. And me and my partner are both filmmakers. We're producers. We're working with indigenous tribes across North, Central, and South America with media and film. And he's also a part of Amazon Frontlines Alianza Sable producers, and he's cooking some fish right now, so he won't join us. But support anything and unite with you guys, because I really feel there's a very strong resonance. So count on us as allies, count on us as relatives, as family. We're here to support the vision, and we have a few feature-length films coming out, as well as we're developing a film series, which Elana, Adriana, and Marcelo and I are all in communication about, which has to do with the awakening of the First Nations across the Americas, and Phil Lane and others are very much part of this series. So we can share with you more about that later. But again, I don't want to take too much time. So that's just a brief introduction to who I am. I'm a film director, producer, and also a medicine keeper. So thank you so much.
And I'd just like to add that the video that you saw from Palenque, it was done by Kumiko, the little short. So
Fabulous.
yeah, and I would love to give the word to our beloved brother Marcelo Saiduni to introduce himself, and so you can have a better idea. He was also in Palenque with us, being the witness of the process that Brother Phil has been living since 53 years, when he received the prophecy from our elders in Lake Titicaca. So welcome, beloved brother Marcelo.
Thank you too much to all of you. I'm Marcelo Saiduni. My name is Taruka Larama, is the blue deer. I'm a scientist in communication, and also I'm a traditional healer from the Aymara cultures in Bolivia, the south. So I am part of this crew. We are working in contribute all the world must to know and understand the prophecy of the eagle and condor. Jose Adriana was given from our ancestors, elders, to have to the Lane, Chief Lane Jr. 52 years ago in the Lake Titicaca in Bolivia, and that whole story is must to be told to all the world of the four corners, and it's an amazing story. It's not just the prophecy; it's the whole life of Phil Lane about what his journey, his spiritual journey. He walked all around this world, been in all kind of events in Rio, in the old cops, and all meetings about heritage, culture, philosophy, tradition. I think he was with all the leaders that we meet, we know, talking about this. Actually, as a peregrine, a prophet too. And so I met him just 3 years ago with Adriana in another meeting. And I hear
World Unity Week, yeah.
Yes, just well. And that moment, I didn't believe it, because we in Bolivia, we didn't know that part of the story. We think that the prophecy comes from the north to the south, We
Mm.
never know the true story. Okay, when I hear it, I get blown my mind. I say, oh, well, how this happen, and or we don't know. And then I can check and talk with the elders in Tiwanaku because I am part of the healers in Bolivia, of the concerts in Bolivia, and the elders say yes, we give that prophecy 52 years ago to Phil, and he came to us and we saw his spirit and we bless him and we give that and he goes to the north and spreads all around the world. I say as a scientist in communication, I say no, this must be the true must be knowledge by the old people, all the people in the world. And I make up my own research about it, and I know now it's true because in Palenque this year we meet physical each other. I touch him, I cry with him, I hang with him, and he's a real person. He exists. It's not a myth. And and I say we must work in the narrative in the narrative, and so we began a work. Unify all the concepts and all the stuff, and the thing goes more biggest and more biggest each day because it's united with other narratives who are became part of one big narrative. And this month we was in Canada, yeah, near Montreal, near Lake Montreal, with another chief of Canada, a big event with a lot of people and elders all around the continent, and they speak about the white buffalo, they speak another prophecies, and all of them goes in one big narrative. And the middle of all of this is the eagle and the condor. So I think in thinking I'm like a filmographer production or a narrative producer, because I'm PhD in semiology and epistemology. So as a epistemologic and semiotic, and also as a healer or ancestral healer, it's mixed in my mind, all that things. I think in symbology of all of these things, if we provide the archetype of all of these, the components are inside, and we unite all of these, we can make a beautiful narrative to speak all of the colors of the rainbows, because each person identified in some part of this narrative because it touched the Canadian, the prophecy of the buffalo, it touched the quetzal and the quetzal cattle, it touched the feathers and the sticks.
Staff, yeah.
Steps, and it touch other prophecies who are in the Kuna language in Panama, Colombia, no, with the Mamos. I've been with them a lot. It touches the Ecuador, many tribes like the Scopai and Kumiko lives there. They are the rainbow tribe. That's his philosophy, and they are the Yaque people. And also us, the Aymaras and Quechas from Bolivia, we have very strong the concept of the eagle and the condor because it's part of our traditions and a part of our philosophy too. So I think that we have all the components, we have the team, and we have the feeling, the spiritual touch to do all this with the. It's an honor for us to do this. It's a privilege too. So I think this moment we can make a think tank, a cluster, a group of cluster, and make work this all together over the kind of people that we are. Wow.
Don't know where that came from.
Don't worry. It's the rainbow. It's the thunder
It's
from
a rainbow, that's right.
the thunder from the Amazon. So I think we can do it. I know all of you. The work of Unify. I thanks for that work that you have there. It's a beautiful platform. I become invited. I think 6 or 7 times in events there. I meet beautiful people because it's like connected all the spiritual people who are around the world working in the same direction. Okay, and I think it's a great idea, and you know how the impact of that activities that Unify have it, and also all the people who are here in this little circle, we are people who have doing our lives in this path of living the spiritual life. So I'm gonna finish this saying something that I feel from my little bottom of my heart is then when I meet Phil Lane, I really understand why he gave all this life to do what he's doing. He spent 52 years of his life walking all around the world and say, if the prophecy exists, it's because the prophet exists. The prophecy comes with a prophet. It doesn't come alone. And spiritual around the world is a very beautiful journey of spirituality. It's a way of spirituality. It's a beautiful way. And I, as a spiritual healer and a spiritual warrior too, I become part of this family when I meet Elana, I meet Adriana, Kumiko, and all the beautiful people that I meet in Palenque. I never believed it exists so much beautiful people. And also in Canada, I meet another beautiful elders from Chile around the world, and beautiful people from Canada, beautiful people who lives spiritually in his bone. So I think that people, that humanity can change the future of this world. And I believe now that we can do the change. We can do that movement we call Pachacuti, that spiritual change to shake the world, but in the good way. That energy, morphogenetic energy, that energy for epigenetic energy would make the change to all around about a top energy vibration at the high vibration of spirituality comes from our heart to all the humanity. I love you to say that. Thank you too much. I appreciate this moment to be with you. Thank you.
Marcelo, I just dropped in the chat a link. And Michael, I don't know if you're on the Mighty Network as well, but if you're not, I encourage everyone to meet there. It's tied into what we might be able to do together over the next 88 days. It is really set up as a compassion game, what we're doing here with these missions. And I just want to honor my beloved Coda Phil. You know, I wrote down something you said, Marcel. There's so many things you said that were so really profound. But one, you said, he's not a myth. Like when you saw him in Palenque, and what happened in Palenque was so important. I can sense that. An important part of how to tell the story. But he's not a myth. But really his life is as if it is, because it's an amazing story and it's weaving together now. That's the privilege of what's emerging in my sense. So I'm so grateful to you, Elana, Adriana. I'm grateful to you too, Elana, but Adriana for, again, just your amazing commitment to Brother Phil and to the, you know, for me, let's assume this. The question of the prophecy is not a question. Let's not put any more energy on trying to find out the truth, right? This is our life. It's not a question of You know, and it's so beautiful though that you spoke as you did, so we have the authoritative word, you know, that Brother Phil doesn't have to be trying to convince people of anything. Let's take that off the table. That was a waste of energy and time. We are living the prophecy. And I do believe with all my heart that there are no accidents and that we would be with what we have. But let's tell the truth. We don't know how to work well together. We're not good at that. We're doing pretty good given that, but the truth is that the way nature works, we're more like ants and apes. This is what Tamsin's saying. If you look at nature, and there's some of that I want to share that I think is really worth it for us, because learning to team up, and it's what these missions are all about. And I wish Kumiko was still here to see this. But Marcelo and Michael, I don't know if you've seen this, but I want to share a quick trailer of this film, The Endangered Generation, that I think is so relevant. And I want to listen to you, Elana, where you're at, because I am really concerned for all of us about how we take these next 88 days together.
Quite often with
What it could mean for us and what it needs to be. But, you know, I have faith. I have a faith above reason. I really do sense that your intuition, Adriana, about calling this meeting with Michael and everything you've been doing, and Elana, your position in the funding and the raising and the work that's happening with the people right around us. There's something here. There's no question. And if we can do this with love and compassion and care for each other. So check this out, though. Marcelo, can you see me? Can you see my screen here? Michael, have you
Yes.
seen this?
I see it.
You see now?
I don't think I've seen it. But
Check this out, 2 minutes. It's
Yeah,
about a
yeah.
film that features Dr. Tamsin Willie Barker and her work in the indigenous world.
quite often with humans, we think we're in control. I'm trying to change that perception of humans being the master of the universe.
We've pushed our planet to the verge of collapse.
The way that we're living is fundamentally at odds with the way that life works.
If we could see our world differently, would we find the clues to our survival?
It's not humans and nature, it's just life.
You are part of something bigger.
If a tree gets nibbled on, it'll produce chemicals to protect itself. Fungus will share that information with trees nearby.
Everything is interconnected.
Pues este círculo es el mundo, donde también la generación tiene que ver que nosotros no existimos solos.
You think of trees as being stuck there, but in this case, this one actually walks to the light.
What if it's not too late?
Holy shit!
Can we tell ourselves a new story about our connection to the earth?
We live in a way that's more like ants or honeybees. All their futures are really tied to one another in a very deep way.
Para el pueblo Kuna, todo lo que nos rodea es familia.
We need to see ourselves as a part of nature.
Around the world, artists, scientists, and activists are rising.
Our aim is to protect life on Earth.
They might just uncover the connections that bind us all to life itself and to one another.
Estamos aquí, definiendo nuestro futuro.
The thing about the future is that the story isn't yet told, and we can change the story. And the answer is amongst all of us.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Oh,
That's Tamsin. She just sold her house in San Diego to buy this land in Borrego Springs, the Kumeyaay people. It's an amazing story. It's an amazing piece of land near the largest state park in California. The Anza Borrego Park is in the center is Borrego Springs. And she has this incredible place for immersive design, living design. But I don't want to go off on that to say that we are going to do the course on radical collaboration by teaming up. This is the mission that she's putting forward that we're all doing together. And I would invite Four Worlds, I know Phil will agree to this, and Adriana and everything, each of our entities, all be a part of this radical collaboration on radical collaboration. And to be practical and focused here is to really articulate a mission for us, for Four Worlds, during this period of time between now and Peace Week. And if you don't know, Phil wrote quite a bit about this already. So let me share with you my screen and make sure that you guys are up to speed on this. So let's see, if I click here, no, hold on. I don't know how to share my screen anymore on Zoom. It's so funny. I have so many windows open, but you would think by now I'd figure out how to make sure that it's easier to share. Okay, can you see? Hold on.
How many screens do you have, John?
It's not the screens, it's the windows, you know, the tabs. It's too many here, but let me see if I share this guy here. So Adriana mentioned these missions, and I put in the link to the Mighty Network that we're using. And the opportunity during this time is really to build what I would call a deep, beloved community of networks that are a global influence. Boy, stop share. How can I not resume share?
If you put the link in the can you do that? If you put
the link is in the chat. Go there, but I wanted to show you what Phil did on this. That's the thing. I'll get to it.
Or maybe I can.
Okay, you can see it now, right?
Yeah.
All right. So this is a Mighty Network, and on the left here is this navigation pane, and down here under the 99 days, you now see the top thing is the missions.
Yeah.
And this gives you kind of an overview of what we're talking about. But then if you click on the missions, there's a couple of things worth checking out here. And Brother Phil, there's a couple things of his that are up here. Let's look in here. We'll tell you how we'll find that.
If I click on the missions, I just clicked on the missions.
Yeah. If you click on missions, you're going to see
up on the top. Okay, I got it. Yeah.
Right? Now, here's what I did that's kind of unifying to everything. It's Brother Phil. When he and I met, he shared with me those guiding principles. That's the paper we wrote on deep social networks and everything. But what we've done here is use these tags, what I'm calling synergy tags, to unify them along those guiding principles. And it's a good exercise for thinking, and we can talk about it. We don't want to get too far down that rabbit hole now. But I want to show you what Phil did here. So if we look here and I say, let's Kumiko's back. That's great. All right. And if I just look, for instance, the tag that he's using is end war. So if I go here and I click on end war, it brings up, and this was the, welcome back, Kumiko. I wish you would have seen what I just shared.
Hi, thank you.
Okay. But what Phil did was, we actually had this session where we were talking, let's say it's September. So when he talks about September 21, that's this next September. And this was kind of laid out as a vision. And he talked about what he called a sacred covenant of unity. And it has an interest to me. So I want you guys to be able to see this article. So I'm going to go here and I'll put the link to this one here. But it's one of a number of pieces he wrote. This one too, again, the vision here, but this first one, they said, okay, given that vision, here are the critical challenges that we're facing. And spell these out here. And you know Phil, he's articulate. So let me share this as well. So hold on. Now, the idea of us crafting a mission in support of Four Worlds and the prophecy, and how, Adriana, you want to lay this out. We have different parties here. I know La Ventana. One of the issues is let's get the money resolved. I know that that's important, and it having like an overbearing effect on things. It has for too long. I believe we're in a different space. We are in a space of abundance. And
I like that.
Calling that forth is part of what the mission is, because we cannot afford to blow it. And
How are
she's
you?
planning.
Good morning.
Adriana, yeah, Elana, thanks. Let me put in this other link too. So I want everyone to be able to, and Marie, Kumiko, let me put in the chat to this platform called Mighty Networks that we're using. And these missions are amazing. If you go in here, if you just look at the ones, we just say, let's see these. And there's a number of these that really, this one to call on the women. Now, what happens is if you just put peace up in here, you see, what we began to realize is, hey, we need a structure because there's so many, we don't want siloed missions either, right? So that's why the guiding principles became important. And that we envision that not only does each mission have its own hashtag, but there's a hashtag for the different topics that are within these different domains. And I feel pretty good about the structure. Okay, Kumiko's back. Let me stop sharing this. So go there just as an orientation. But I believe the task at hand, Adriana, is to articulate a mission for the time between now and September that can advance the work of the different parties that are here. And that starts with identifying who are those parties, right? So I know when you talk about Phil for me, I put that in the context of Four Worlds. But then there's also La Ventana, right? Which is, although it has a close relationship with Four Worlds, but that's a separate entity unto itself. And you have concerns for underwriting the funds for there as well, right?
Yeah, just to make it easier, in case of La Ventana, it has become part of Four Worlds International Vision because Brother Phil was hoping to open 2 global centers for indigenous science and ancestral wisdom. So when he shared that document with me, I thought, oh my God, I've been working for this matter for the last 13 years, and it is a proven project. Kumiko, Marcelo, Elana, they've been there. They can testify what I'm saying. And there's so much to share there. And Brother Phil called for 3 more meetings in Palenque. So that would be March the 24th, March the 25th, and 25, and March 26th, the years. So so Brother Phil already called for those meetings the next 3 years. So we developed a council from whom Brother Marcelo is also part of. We are trying to evolve in that case. So I really feel, even though it's a separate entity, it is part of Brother Phil's vision. And I am putting it in service to his vision. But yes, definitely we need funds.
Right. Okay. But that's where clarity, I think, is going to be important, because I want to work back from, in just the money domain, just talking about the money, that somebody, okay, they want to send money, then you need to know where to send it and what it is going to and for, to make it simple, right? So if you have the relationship with Phil so that there's a budget for La Ventana that's part of Four Worlds, and they just can write a check to Four Worlds, and that works for you. But making sure that that's in place is going to be important, because we want to avoid any negative surprises. And the energy around money is often, it's like hot.
Well, this really came to my mind because I've seen so many efforts from Brother Phil, myself, and I thought, well, we have the platform. Why shall we all be working on individually? Why don't we merge back to the fountain, to where we started, where we have been in the last 5 years? And why don't we do it together to profit not only per se La Ventana, but also to profit Four Worlds International, because we've been working together. And Four Worlds International might be part of Sign Network. That part, I don't know how it would work. but of course, we need to be thankful to the source that it's bringing us together and making us accomplish our objectives in every ways, the social objectives, the political, the unification, and also the money part. So that's why I invited also Elana, because she's working on that behalf. That's why I invited Kumiko, because she would be like Brother Phil's dream come true with Global Center of Indigenous Science and Ancestral Wisdom in the Amazon, connecting with Darwin Rodriguez and all that he's been doing for so many years. And Kumiko is living that as well as we speak with all her community, with her husband. So that's why I think she's so important. And not only that, she's also filming the whole process that you just said, that we don't have to put more weight on the prophecy thing. But I totally believe it is very important just to tell the story. We don't have to convince anybody. But I believe that we have to tell the true story in order to honor and honor Brother Phil's legacy, because it is his legacy, not only for himself, but for his family, for his communities, and for all who have been walking with him. So
yeah. So let me clarify, Adriana, what I meant when I was saying that. This is that I feel that the authoritative, the questions of the prophecy are not really questions for me anymore. That it's a faith above reason, right? That the need to, but it's so fabulous to have Marcelo here and you here and all of us who are bearing witness. And when he said that, he's not a myth, that really touched my heart. Because to know, and to even the fact that it isn't clear whether the prophecy started in the north or the south, let it be that way. It's just perfect, because it's something that really does belong not just to us, but to our future generations and to our ancestors. There's that sense of wisdom of carrying precious knowledge. And that's why I feel called to the next level of bringing into form. And maybe I should make that clearer, how Phil's work is so embedded deeply in this. So here. And I put, Kumiko, a link to this film, The Endangered Generation, that I think would be good for you and your husband to watch. I don't want to watch it again here, but I just played it and it's connected because
Great, thank you so much. Yeah, I just saved the link, so I will watch it after this call. Thank you so much.
Yeah, because I think of Dr. Tamsin and the idea of this radical collaboration we're doing. She's kind of the Jane Goodall of this generation. And her work on teaming is really inspiring, but she says that the situations are caused by patterns. And the patterns are caused by the relationships. And if we change our relationships, we can change the patterns. And that'll change the situation. And the Sign Network, the fact that we're admins on over 300 pages, Facebook pages, is just an example of a different kind of agreement and relationship. And what we're envisioning, Adriana, during this time is when Phil said that sacred covenant of unity, I also thinking of what I call a creative win-win collaborative agreement that we can establish amongst ourselves for the kind of sharing we need to be able to be the force, to gain the influence as a voice that can raise the funds that's needed to underwrite the projects that are happening. It has the trust, it has the presence. It's kind of co-initiation for co-presencing. And that's where we've been able to take risks. That's what Phil, when we first using the phrase unprecedented unified action. I mean, that is what the Sign Alliance is all about. So my interest is just making this come into form. And I know Elana's been working, to raise funds and the challenges there. We need to put it all on the table and say, okay, now wait a minute. How do we sort this out in a creative way that allows for this kind of win-win collaborative agreement to emerge and feed each other? That It's that desire to receive that turns into the desire to give, that turns into the reciprocity. That's like nature's way, a new pattern. And that's what this mission could be for us. So I'd love to be a part of contributing to shaping it, making it clear, and then getting it in front of the people who can be supportive of it and join with it. And one of the things that's happening with the Ramapo and the Lenape people, in Manhattan, in Manhattan, because that's Harry and the Brand Earth Initiative. But in here, so you guys can see my screen again?
Yes.
All right. So all of these projects are now grounded in the guiding principles. So I just want to make that obvious. I started it, I realized maybe I should have spent another minute with this. So this image here, I call them synergy tags, we'll change this. But all the missions, what's nice about them is they can identify with one or all of these domains. So we went through and we said, well, starting from within, that's personal and spiritual. Working in a circle, that's the currencies and economies. In a sacred manner, that's how we govern in our politics. That's justice. That's equity. We heal and develop ourselves in our relationships. That's social, cultural. And the world, that's ecological and environmental. And then there's that which is all of it. And a project can name itself to be any part. It could be of all six or anyone. Then each one of these we went through and laid out human concerns associated with that. So now you can go on that site and say, let me see everything related to, and so we're not in these silos. So working in a circle, connecting all the missions in which we do our work by every day, making and fulfilling of our commitments, exploring possibilities, trading and exchanging with each other to get stuff done. The domain of currencies and economy deals with flows and wealth connected to our patterns of everyday activities, transactions, and agreements for production, consumption, and co-created. That's for us. I'm talking about a new agreement amongst us. So that Unify, La Ventana, Four Worlds, Sign, the film, whatever these entities are, have a flow. In each of these domains, it's spelled out. What we mean by a sacred manner, connecting the missions that deal with public trust, accountability, how we allocate resources, public affairs, elect officials who make decisions, like the council that you're talking about that's established the next 3 years. That's all in governance and politics. That's how we come up to resolutions that are for the greatest good of the greatest number of people. That's right from Patricia. Set priorities, establish equity and justice at the heart of governance and politics. So, and then social and cultural. And so it's all here. And then it's nested as part of this vision. Again, there are those, like Unify is this. It's connecting all of them. Dealing with all the parts of the whole, focus on the interconnection among all our relations and intentions. What I call a deep, beloved community of networks with a global influence. Across various domains and regions. So I'm proposing we do this, focusing on our missions. In summary, trust building, cultivating a deep social network of networks, understanding each other's offerings, and actively contributing value are all vital components for fostering collaboration, driving innovation, and achieving mutual growth within a new Earth rising. And then this is the paper that Phil and I wrote that this is really drawn from. That was the deep social networks and the digital fourth way. So I'm excited to be a contributor and supporter of articulating the mission for Four Worlds and for Unify. And Michael, which project are you thinking that this could be a part of that fits? Because you also wear many hats. So let's.
Well, I think I think part of there's two things going on right now on the planet. I think one is the division that we've been divided and conquered, and we don't recognize the light that is shining within us, is shining within everyone, or 99% of the population. So it is about the unification of the human family, and what is actually needed to facilitate that, and what is the modality to bring people together. And then the second piece is the finance. And so the project that I'm working on, where I'm looking at all of that, and I honor you, and I recognize you, and I totally feel you. And I'm saying that the project that I want to bring forward, Awaken, has the potential to generate $3 billion in net profit over the next 3 years. And I'm saying, well, here's all the money it would require to unify a global audience, create that network through whatever music and sound and vibration and intention and frequencies. And so then the network is already there, and we can generate enormous amount of money to fund all of that, to fund Chief Elaine and Elana and Kumiko and everything.
La Ventana.
And La Ventana. 50 La Ventanas all over the planet. And so,
yay.
and it requires minimal investment, but it requires maximum collaboration. And that's almost a test for what could become. And for a global, for a network, or for an audience, or for a network to, how can I put this, to the people out there, there is the converted that already know exactly what is going to happen, and they get it, and call them spiritual, call them whatever label we want to put towards it. And they're almost preaching to converted. They're preaching towards one another, and it's the same conversation from different angles and different perspectives, and repeated all over and over and over and over again. For me, what I'm looking at is, how can we actually create global transformational change? And the understanding that I have in any living system is a tipping point, where the energy that is going to be created is then going to have an influence on the rest. And it's the same in nature. That is a universal law of nature. It's about how can we create something that then is going to have an effect on mass people. I don't want to say consciousness, because Mother Earth has her own consciousness. It's for us to align to that. And how can we do that? And how can we make it as easy as possible for people around the planet to step into that, almost that they don't have to do anything. They just have to do something which doesn't take away any time and any learning and any effort and so that's.
Yeah. So Michael, here's one way to go about this, right?
Yeah.
So that's a profound mission unto itself. So if you're up for it, I'd ask you to put that mission, Awaken, I'm talking about Awaken, right? Because getting at what are the barriers to the success of Awaken. Here you're saying, hey guys, I have something that's going to get $3 billion in 3 years or whatever. And something is keeping that stuck. That's what I want to undo during this mission time. That's what I'm proposing. So separate from that, which I think is important, and I would love to be a contributor to that, because what I'm talking about is really the same thing. And this is an example of, I don't want to be one more of those conversations you're just talking about, where a bunch of us are all talking to each other about the same thing and not getting anything done.
Okay.
So what I'm proposing, that be a mission unto itself.
Okay. Can I have a personal conversation with you after that, or next week or so, around that, for you to specifically advise me on how to go about it and walk me through it, and have that conversation?
Right, because that's worthy of that. And I don't want to be the one. Now, maybe Adriana say, well, no, John, you know what? I think the answer to Four Worlds is just do Awaken. If you're saying that, because I can't ignore that. That's what he's saying. But I thought that you had a different idea of a joint, and you brought Michael to the conversation, Unify, I assume with something in mind. So let me listen here. And Elana has something to say too. So
let me just. You had asked me what kind of project I'm bringing forward. I'm here to support anybody with anything that has consciousness attached to it, or high vibrational frequency attached, and bring it from the spiritual, from the non-physical into the physical, whatever that is. That is, in my opinion, one of my strengths, is to, how does that need to look like, what is required, is a business plan required, is a media strategy required, what is that? And I feel that this is one of my pieces that I can do to pull it from the spiritual realm into the third dimensional reality, to then offer it to an audience. And so, and I didn't mean to take anything away from anybody. I'm here.
No, I get that. I'm just saying that unless Adriana says, no, what I really want to do is just focus on Awaken, then we should give Awaken its own space.
And I just want to come over to Adriana and give her a big hug, because she's right across the water from me.
No, but I want to take Michael's word of sharing Awaken with all of us. So the $3 billion.
Right. I don't want to be the one that said, hey, let's ignore the $1 million project and work on getting $250,000. I mean, shame on me, right?
Yeah, and whatever I can, yeah, that's all I want to put out there. So in my opinion, with everything that we do, the most important piece is going to be about creating a network, a conscious network, that is going to be able to bring forward the information that is desperately waiting to be brought forward. And whether that is the prophecy of the condor and the eagle, whether that is Chief Phil Lane's or Uncle Phil's work, whether that is Adriana's work in La Ventana, whether that is Kumiko's work or Elana's work or Marcello's work. There is nothing is going to happen unless we have a network that goes beyond the converted. That is my critical point. And we need to get this information into mainstream, because whenever I talk to people about any issues surrounding us, whether it's environment, whether it's education, whether it's healthcare, whether it's any subject, everybody says to me, there is nothing I can do. And I'm saying that's not true. There is a lot we can do. It doesn't require much. What we first have to do is we have to unify and recognize that light that is shining in each and one of us, that light that wants peace, that wants harmony, that wants to be in balance with Mother Nature and Mother Earth, and we want to have a harmonious future for future generations. And that's we're all born like that, and at some point we've unlearned it and we've forgotten, and whatever, that is a whole different story. But we need to start to unify and recognize that we're not alone.
Right.
And I can get very passionate about it.
Sorry, I think Kumiko was share something. Sorry.
Yeah. And then Elana too. Kumiko though.
I'm going.
Yes, hello. I just wanted to share, as you I know I came in late, but you were mentioning Awaken. So I'm directing a film called The Roots Awaken, which has been about a 7-year process. And I saw Marcelo when the film started, and I saw him again in Palenque as it's ending, and it's in post-production. It's final stages, about to be launched into the world. And I was wondering, John, if you could show it. It's only about 2 minutes and 30 seconds.
Yeah.
And you can share screen. It's private link, so you have to put the password in.
What's the password?
Can I ask a favor before we share
News
that?
cycle 7.
Okay. Yeah, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Elana.
Sure. Could I ask a favor before you share that? Because I think everybody except you has seen it, John. Because we shared it. I've shared it with Michael, and we have shared it amongst ourselves from La Ventana. So just because I'm in the emergency room with my foster daughter, and she's probably going to have to go into surgery, I wanted to try to distill what I hear John sharing, and what I believe Adriana's intention was to bring us together in this call.
Good. That'd be helpful. Please.
So John is offering an opportunity to curate solutions as a demonstration of this radical collaboration. And as holding the role of bringing in the financial support so that we can express these solutions in all the ways that we've talked about, what allows the energy of money to be attracted to what we're talking about is to have a very simple entry point to this very big and complex invitation. And John, we recently had Christina Jones in the Four Worlds International Global Impact Fund board meeting with Adriana and myself. And she was 13 years with 20th Century Fox, and most recently with Salesforce. What she knows that I believe Chief is hearing now is that in addition to extremely carefully curating whatever we share in this channel that we're talking about, this new narrative that we're going to get out there, is to have an equally large audience already in place. And only now that Christina is joining us do I have confidence that we can launch in a larger environment, which I think I heard Michael saying as well. We have to make sure we're not just talking to ourselves. We have to be accessible. The Indigenous-led stories in collaboration with global influencers will result in the world where we all thrive. And so I would love to hear just a little bit more from John about like, what is the ideal audience? How many numbers? Because Christina and I are getting very, very detailed. I mean, we are looking at environments where no matter what, we have tens, if not hundreds of thousands of email addresses, so that we are going to invite people to watch this curation. And in it, yes, will be Kumiko's work. Yes, will be Michael's work. And one of the things that I thought was so interesting that Christina said at the board meeting was, we have to make sure that these stories start with joy, because we're so weighted down right now with the trials and tribulations of being human spirits in these human bodies on Mother Earth. We're really distracted from the joy. And when she heard Marcelo speak in Kumiko's rough cut, she really recognized that the story of hope is the true story of the prophecy. It's what we started with in this conversation. So I'll just pause by sharing that I would love to know how we can elevate and expand what you already have in place, John, and how that can result in fundraising, not just for La Ventana, but for very carefully curated request invitations, so that we can demonstrate the most uplifted version of the 99 days of radical collaboration. Schultz, back to you.
Yeah. So I think your mission to raise the funds should be one of the outcomes of this mission that I'm thinking about, right? So there's some really, because what is the difference between a dreamer and an entrepreneur?
Entrepreneur raises money and gets followers. That's the difference.
I mean, right, there's a lot of big dreams, and I get that, but we really do need to get the boots on the ground and get the resources. And therefore, I think that scoping the opportunity here to make sure, now I don't know who that is, but it's okay. Just if it was me, I'm sorry. Someone's phone's ringing. And I think, Adriana, that's what your instincts are saying. I mean, there's so much you have there in depth of the narrative and the articulation. It's very clear, the prophecies, it's very clear Phil's life and his work here. And I think putting together the mission will force us to gain the clarity that you're seeking, Elana. And that's where we should begin. And how that superorganism of four worlds feeds these other initiatives and projects, I think that's important to sort out. That's part of what I called this creative win-win collaborative agreement, some way that we manifest this in such a way that the funds, like I've been talking about Indigenet, I think that's a very important project. That it resonates with my soul because that's this marrying of the local, which is to the first people, with the digital, which is really what this is about. That's why I'm here. I've been here with Phil all along because we felt that those guiding principles put into a new medium for communication could be the most important thing for the planet. And now with these next generation of tools emerging and that knowledge to be shared and to be preserved and respected and protected in the Amazon, I mean, this is, the work of a lifetime. So, and Marcel, you have your hand up. I want to honor you.
Just short to say something. I must speak always with the heart and human understanding. I don't speak very good English, but when I was going in Palenque, and then we visited La Ventana, no? I meet the space and I meet the people who's there. Okay, it's a new tribalism, a new group of people making. It's a new community there. Okay, very new. All the things are new, but all the components are ancestral. So when I touch something, when I feel something, I know if it's true or it's not true. Okay, that's what I learn in my life, and it's true. La Ventana is a project who became a family project between Adriana and his son and his grandsons and all the family. But that's how the communities began in the history of humanity. And if we are part of a community, we must share that with our project too, because she is our community too. Yes. And we must work with her and help her to do what she doing in his life, because it's the way of his life at the time. And Kumiko also, she is from North America, and she went to Ecuador. She met another person, and I know she's part of the community there. And they have adopted her. She's part there. She make the together. She's a healer now, and that happened. That things happen in their life. So is she doing a project there too? Because they have cacao, they have coffee, they have fish, they have many things there. They have Yagé too. They have the memory, the culture, they have the Amazon. So what we must to work for? We must to work for other projects, the people that we don't know, or we must do project things that our brothers and family are doing. We have a project in Palenque, we have a project in Sicopay, and we have also project in the Kuna land. There's another family there, another brother we have there. And this the Guatemala ladies who came of the part of our team. They have a project too. But all of the people who came to La Venta or to the Palenque meeting have his own life and his own way and his own community. Also, I have my community too in Bolivia. I am part of communities. But I think that we can do working 10 fingers at the same time. We're beginning, and we must targeting 2 things or 3 things very hardly. And I think Adriana, I meet her and she's like you saw, she's the person and I love her. And Kumiko is that what you saw there is that person. And Elana is like you, John. Now I meet you. I know your work and your work speak for you. And so Unified, I've been in part of Unified of these 5 years. I always, they invite me, I will be there because I agree to what they're doing. And if they ask me to be 10 days a day in a week, I will be. I will not ask for money about that because I do it for because it's to help the people. And the other big project, the indigenous, for me as a network theorist and a communication scientist, is a big idea, a great idea, but it must have a big umbrella. And this means a lot of money, millions of dollars, because to do something like that is a big project, a big umbrella, a big hub project. It's a hub. And that hub his own networking, and to make new networking, you must have products and production and all this type of production. And for complete all a network agenda, a network channel, you have to have all the stuff, and then you put the networking, and you produce all the hours of a day, all hours of a week, all hours of a month, and that's a lot of production. Your production, our production, and other production could put new initiatives there, new productions, really new projects, novel productions. So that's a big job, because we have half an hour, 1 hour of production, new stuff, and then we began to be networking and to impact to the world and say, hey, we are new, and we have new things, we have new components, new message. What you have said is in my book too. This is the book, The Economy of Life, and John have show his graphics, and my graphics say the same that you say.
I remember we shared it. We shared your work. We've shared your work.
Okay. So we think in the same vibration, my friend, my brother. I say you say something, I say the same. It's like it's paralogic. It's not logical. It's paralogic. It's meta logic. So that's what I say. What Adriana speak about this project is not this project. It's a project we all together want to work together. And Kumiko's project is not just for her. I want to work for her. I want to work for Adriana, Kumiko, and all around. We have to do it together as one community and one family. That's all I want to say. Thank you. Thank you too much.
So it's good we have this much oneness and trust, because it's a good condition. If you don't have it, we wouldn't get anywhere. So it starts there. And the tension you're speaking to, Marcelo, between a global indigenet kind of project and the local project. Here's what I think is emerging for us. All change happens locally. It's the only place it can happen. Local to wherever you are. And everyone in this network knows that. And we're going to reinforce that and empower us to be able to make the change where we are locally. It could scale regionally, but then it can synchronize or synergize globally. And that's where it's radically collaborative for us, where we can actually bring in the best practices. So like Phil says, starting from within. So it's starting from within. That's where it's got to happen, right? And so there's that kind of bottom up, top down, outside in, from the inside out. It's kind of the 4 directions for me for about change. So yes. Now, the challenge we have this rival resource called time. We can only focus on so many things. So we as a family, as a community, have to make those decisions, and we have to come to terms with how we make decisions. This is not male dominance, nor is it female submission. We're trying to get out of old patterns, right? Left to our own devices, we'd screw this up again. I really believe that. Unless we're really willing to go to another place together. And I'm not willing to waste a minute. I feel the urgency is so great. So Adriana, you're the caller. You called this conversation. And
Yes, brother.
yeah, we need
Thank
to
you.
say, need to you to say what you want the mission to focus on.
Well, I see that Brother Phil's vision, it's so huge that we are a result of his vision. So it's not going to be easy. But of course, I could have brought many other relatives to this circle, like Anne-Marie from the Hague Center and so many others. I don't want to take so much time, but like Elana, when she presents her deck, some people say, we don't understand, who are we going to help? Is it for Worlds International? Is it La Ventana? Is it Indigenet? Is it the Amazon? What is it that we are going to be supporting with whatever we come with? So I believe that we need to make a re-engineering of our proposal in a way of saying, this is La Ventana. Do you want to collaborate with La Ventana? Or Kumiko says, this is the Amazon. Do you want to collaborate with the Amazon? And Marcelo says, this is our Bolivia community. Do you want to collaborate with us? And let the people choose. That's why I think if we put it in a huge umbrella, but give it a very nice clarity of what people can choose to support. And then from there, we can give back to Four Worlds, because Brother Phil has lots of followers in the Red Road. For instance, the Kindred Spirits, they were also in World Unity Week. They also were in Palenque. They want to really make that bridging continents really come true. And they were showing that Ireland, for instance, they are the ones who are the biggest donors in Europe.
Because of what happened in the past, that story. Yeah.
And they want to support indigenous peoples because they believe in that brotherhood, sisterhood that was created when the indigenous peoples sold everything they had to collaborate while they were starving. So the rainbow bridges are happening, John. The vision of the prophecies, the unification, and after that, it's the bridges, the rainbow bridges happening, like tending those rainbow bridges. It's happening. It's a result of what we've been doing for the last 4 years. Even though it seems that we're not working together, absolutely, yes, we are working together. Maybe not in the best way you envision.
Together. I know, whether our together working is getting the results.
But these are the results. These are the results where we can have the confidence to say, hey, John, we feel, and this is my part, I feel we are ready to come to you with this collaboration and make it really what you've been envisioning. Like Michael just said, I do the part of the technological. I can learn if I have the little time or the little resources. Kumiko, she's far out there. And of course, Elana. So Marcelo, it's far out there. He has all this collaboration that he can bring through his team in the TIC. Maybe Brother Marcelo can explain to you what he does around the TIC, which is, Brother Marcelo, can you please explain just very shortly?
I'm also studying in technology in communication and information. and that's ticks in Spanish, ticks. And it's helpful for do networking and networks, okay, and clustering and networking and interconnectivity. And so if we are doing a big umbrella, a project, it's good to work together in the components of that, okay? But I saw what Elana show us is very nice, it's very interesting, but I hope that we can put some other components there and share other components to help you. I see John have a good ideas for that too, and I hope the other persons in here could help to make and our friends here, also Michael, have a good ideas and good thinking about what we can do. So Elana explain us a short information of what he want to do in the project of the indigenous. Some of us can give the ideas for that big umbrella. No? That's what I'm saying.
Marcelo, join that mighty network. I want your opinion of that and see what's going on there. That would be helpful and a good way for us to connect. And what I'm really proposing is a short-term exploration and project that we build to learn. And it speaks to the short-term concerns that there are for financing. But it's reminded me when you were speaking, Adriana, and Elana, this may not be the best time to have this conversation, so we can, because it's getting over an hour here. But the Global Impact Fund, right? What is that called? Remind me. The Four World, is it Global Impact Fund?
The Four Worlds Global Impact Fund.
Yeah. Because when Adriana was speaking, really, that was, and this is part of the concern I have, is that there's like a lot of pieces and things that were started just were then kind of abandoned onto a next thing, onto a next thing, on the next thing. I think part of what we may want to do is appreciate what's already there in place, because that, when you started to speak, Adriana, that gives space through the Global Impact Fund for people to look at different projects and contribute to them. And that might be, I don't know why we've moved from that. What was it about that approach to raising funds that led to where we're at, Elana?
I'm sorry, sorry, which approach? Because the doctor just came in, so I had to turn off the audio.
What about people being able to go to the Global Impact Fund and choose what they want to give to?
Well, that's been available well before I was brought on board, and that was not effective. So what I was brought on to do was to present to angel donors, folks who like big picture and big vision. And what I'm finding the challenge to be is, one, we're in a recession and a downturn economy. I just shared with a couple of my colleagues that Sundance Film Festival, despite bringing in more funding than they've ever brought in before, had to lay off folks because their total downturn has been so intense just the past 6 months. And number two, I do believe that when I have brought our beloved chief, when folks want to meet him, because that's what big vision people, they want to meet the other big vision folks, that as Chief and I have said, the bridge is often a little thin between his compassion and capacity to tell these beautiful stories and their capacity to understand and take them in when he's talking in a Zoom. And so we've had a lot of people interested in writing those checks and then being uncertain. And that's a reflection of the gap that exists, sadly, where all of us here are translators on the call. We're all trying to transcend and create these bridges so that we can start making the change. But I mean, I do still have these verbal commitments. I do believe there will be checks written by folks who can write checks for 10, 20, 30,000, which is really different than giving somebody a button to donate. Well, they'll give up 100 or 1,000 or maybe a couple, but not the 250 that we need to get to the next step. So I'll just recrystallize what I believe the next step is, and that is to curate 2 or 3 very, very high level examples of a holistic healing story, of a course that is something in between what you're presenting right now, John, in Peace Through Unity, the manual, and what Chief has already put, which is a version of the Indigenous Circle Leadership 101, to just have a very, very short story. And then, you know, if we have 1 minute, I would love to close with a video that really isn't about any of these subject matters, but it's so beautifully produced. I think it will capture what's missing in the dialogue and the narrative. So at the very end, if you guys will oblige me with 2 minutes, I have it queued up, and it was actually brought to me by Christina.
Right, and I also promised Kumiko we play that her trailer, and Michael's got his hand up here. So okay, let's see. Can we do this in like another 10 minutes? Is everyone okay? Attempt to try to get this complete then, and making time for Kumiko's and your. Michael, you got your hand up.
You were just talking about the Global Impact Fund and the SDG Impact Fund, and when I helped Uncle Phil with the website and the link to the SDG Impact Fund, I find and I hope I'm not going to say that disrespectfully, there's a lot of noise, but not a lot of clarity. Like there is the Expand the Four Worlds and the Spiritual Health Holistic Health Program, Rising of the Union Continent and the Eagle, Protect and Restore the Amazon, Expand the Classes and Programs of Four Worlds International University. There isn't really, I think what is needed is let's focus on one or two things and do them the best we can do. And that is then also going to take away from an uncertainty of potential people coming in and saying, well, what is it actually that you're doing, and not understanding it. So I think being razor focused, having the support material, and then going out again and doing that. And I'll be more than happy to support whatever Adriana or whoever needs whatever they need. I'm here to help, and I'd be honored.
Thank you, Michael.
Thank you, Michael.
Kumiko, should we play that trailer now? Yeah, I saw a heart appear there. Hold on, I think I can do it. Got the sound. Can you guys see my screen? Here we go.
The sacred tree with strong roots is the source of life. Below a sable tree, I wonder about my own roots, where the veins of my family tree began to intertwine. And then all of a sudden, I land back in the place where I was born. According to the Hopi elders, we are currently at the end of the fourth world. And then all of a sudden, we start deviating into two paths. The first path is driven by materialism, greed, and spiritual poverty, leading to environmental degradation.
And this one will always be there because they all have a mission.
I am leaving the desert behind on a one-way ticket south. I am going to find a place where the people still speak the language of the earth. Beyond the Andes Mountains, deep in the Amazon rainforest, are the multicolored people, the tribes of the First Nations. In the richness of the Amazon rainforest is the cure to heal humanity. If only we could value and protect it.
Nosotros los Yecopain tenemos un lugar sagrado para nosotros. Y este lugar sagrado es justamente el territorio de Ukya.
The ancestral land of origin is under attack.
Intika topai petroleras. Gabarras hapiku yot iya neho kaiko. Kuine wa imonye karaje. Kuine yeske bai palma africana. Año, yo cojo un chico de mi país, pan. Son cuña, año, y cotilla ya.
We are not protesters, we are protectors of life.
Ustedes se manifiesten y se expresen. Y así lo queremos seguir llevando a cabo.
According to the prophecy, this world will end and a new age will begin. Those who stay on the second path will reawaken into the fifth world.
Oh my God.
Wow.
That is amazing, Kumiko. Oh my gosh.
Wow. There is some hair standing up here all over my body. Beautiful, powerful. Thank you, sister.
Thank you so much. So we're all aligned.
It makes me
and
cry. It's very beautiful. Thank you too much.
like you all said, now is the time for us all to align, unify. And so it's clear that all of our consciousness and all that we're working towards is for the same mission. And so it's really my prayer that, all of us can really unite in the one-hearted road. And this film, again, is in post-production. I've been speaking with Elana about it, Adriana, Marcelo, I believe John and Michael. This is our first time, really speaking on a Zoom call. And so, the mission with this film is to really awaken humanity, to protect the sanctity of life. And then we're already working on a series, which is following the Roots Awaken film, which the first episode is going to be about Chief Phil Lane, and the Eagle Condor prophecy. And then following that, we're going to honor each, of the ancient lineages. We'll have an episode with the Mayans. We'll have an episode with the Hopi, the Aymara in Bolivia. And then after we, reach North, Central, and South America, we will go over to Tibet, Japan, and start to bridge, because, I am Japanese. So part of the mission as well is to unite East and West. Of course, the indigenous peoples of North, Central, and South America have their medicine as well. As in the East, there's so much with Buddhism, with compassion, with the teachings there. So eventually we will bring in the dragon, which is part of what will happen with the prophecy. So this is a huge mission. This is a lifelong mission. I'm so happy that Elana and Adriana and Marcelo and I were able to connect in ceremony in Palenque, and we're all united, with this vision to support Chief Phil Lane as well. But as we know, the vision is much beyond any of us as individuals, and it's really about what we're creating for the new world, for the future generations. So I'm really visualizing how all of this is going to impact the children and the future children. And so, as we know, media is one of the most impactful ways to create consciousness and transform people. And so if there's any way that I can support what you guys are doing or be an ally, I am, very dedicated to this lifelong mission of, awakening consciousness and also uniting the First Nations who've been for over 500 years, really in resistance. And now is the time for them to rise and shine. So I'm in, complete support of supporting the First Nations and Indigenous peoples. Thank you so much for listening. And I will definitely be in touch with Adriana and Elana and Marcelo about how I can support this collective. I know I jumped in at the last minute. So again, we're always in communication, and you guys can count on me as an ally.
Thank you so much, Kumiko. And I just want to add to what you just said. We worked together in Montreal in the summit of the Eagle, the Condor, the Quetzal, and the Hummingbird in Montreal. We were Kumiko, Brother Marcelo, and Sister Joan Henry together, being the witnesses of the movement beyond Brother Phil. It's kind of like a parallel parallel action happening in the East with First Nations. So really the energy of the prophecy, it's uplifting and uplifting us all, whether we want it or not. So thank you, Brother John. What do we do?
Okay, hold on. So
What are the next steps?
okay, so I just put the link to this peacethroughunity.earth. This is our mighty network. I'd like you to be there. That's where Phil's, I don't know if you saw, but that's kind of the hub here for what will be this mission. And maybe it's many missions here. It's certainly not limited. There's a lot unfolding here, and support for your film, support for Indigenet. When you talked, Elana, about 1 or 2 projects, my God, what Kumiko's up to is amazing. And what Ventana and what happened in Palenque. I mean, there's a story to be told here that I'm committed to grounding it in enough of the current reality so it moves the financing forward on that regard as well, right? That there's a couple of meaningful steps we could take during this period of time that could start to feed what needs to be fed here. I know our hearts are all in the right place. So give me a little bit of time to think about this, because there's so many things that come to mind. Even just so you know, Kumiko, May Peace Prevail on Earth by Fumi. She's Japanese American. And the connection, we have hundreds of Japanese people on calls with us that we do. And it's connecting Hiroshima with Auschwitz and what happened there. I mean, the planet awakening is upon us. And we are privileged to be, for whatever reason, right in the middle of a lot of it that could feed us if we just, like for me, it's really pause. My mentor used to say, I knew I'd be here one day, but yesterday I didn't know it would be today. Deep bows to everybody here. Michael, what you're doing, Elana, what you're up to, Marcelo, Adriana. You know, this is worthy of my life.
May I'm not sure why Elana is in the emergency room or in the hospital, but may we send some healing energy towards her daughter or her stepdaughter for a second. And I don't think she's in the ER for out of choice. I think it's out of necessity. And
Thank you, my dear heart. Thank you, Michael.
All right, beautiful. Adriana, there's something else you want to say?
Biggest gratitude, much love to each and all of you. May your foster daughter comes out of the hospital with great success. Our love to the Amazons, that we're always so connected, and to Bolivia, great hug, Brother Marcelo and Brother John. I know that your beloved wife, Summer, is also so involved into the prophecy. So I've been thinking on connecting her also to Kumiko and to Brother Marcelo, because the narrative that is there, it's really not to really bring us any stress, but on the other hand, is to really reassure us of what we are where we are feeling, what we are living in this living prophecy that you said. We are the living prophecy. So we are the ones who
Amazing,
can
Adriana. You literally called Summer in. She was away.
I was just getting eggs. I was just getting eggs. They're eggs from the birds. Prophecy. Hummingbird eggs is what I bring.
Oh, thank you, sister.
Literally,
Thank you
this
so
is
much.
Kumiko just share with us her film. Kumiko, do I have your permission? Can I share that with Summer when the call is over?
Of course, you can share it with whoever you like.
My gosh. Michael's here from Unify and Marcelo.
In
Colombia.
Bolivia.
Elana, hello.
And I was just mentioning, beloved sister Summer, that you've been in my heart and in my mind since you told me that you're writing about the prophecy. And I wish so much to connect you with Brother Marcelo, who is getting all the narrative, and Kumiko, who is really doing the film work, and Elana, who is doing the support, and of course, Michael, who has always been there to support us all. So it's been a beautiful moment. And I was just sharing with John that wish that to share with you now that I feel we are more ready and more clear of the greatness of the vision and mission of Brother Phil. So
it's incredible timing that I literally I just talked to my graphic designer for my book, and I just left. It was one of my first meetings with him, talking about the cover. And the cover art is beautiful spiral painting, and there's a hummingbird that is actually an image of a hummingbird from Ecuador. And on the book, I have, and with permission from creator, as I feel I've been in imposing the story to hopefully represent four worlds and the prophecy from the Garden of Joy, in collaboration with the hummingbird, Quetzal, eagle, condor, Native American prophecy that I will have. Like it's part of the cover of the book is that collaboration and desire to financially support every book purchase, a percentage of every purchase, anything tied to the Garden of Joy of this launch that will be happening over this next year will go to this work of four worlds. I mean, I'm holding the eggs.
Wow.
And
There you go,
like
guys. I told you, abundance.
Happening, you know?
Abundance.
And conversations with Ejna and these beautiful collaborations of these convergences. There's stories from me about this prophecy and the work that is shining light on so many of us. So,
absolutely. Well, that's so wonderful. I'm so happy about this timing, and thank you so much. I think you've been doing amazing work to put us all together, and you will keep on rowing in the magical canoe.
And a bigger paddle.
During World Unity Week, I realized he needs to just actually have his paddle right next to the computer. So
it's coming at me fierce.
There you go.
Headwaters here.
Love to all of you.
We'll be in touch.
I guess it's a good sign that I have 5 paddles on my deck.
All right, bye for now, everybody.
Much love. Blessings. Bye-bye.